There's this legend in the deeper parts of the internet that you've probably never heard of, despite it going on for over a decade and spanning dozens of different forums. It's for some reason never reached mainstream eyes. And this legend I speak of is the nobody threads, also referred to as the anomaly threads. And I'll explain everything. I'll get straight to the point, but I'm not schizophrenic. Bear with me, okay? This whole thing came about when I was researching something completely different. I had no idea what the nobody was. I was researching some guy who was teaching himself how to hallucinate anything you wanted, and he started a whole blog and progress report, and he kind of went crazy and psychotic, and he had a bunch of schizo ramblings on his blog. And we all know Yayo, right? we all know Yayo. We totally all know who that is. You don't need to know who that is. But basically on this guy's blog, who he claimed he had unlocked some kind of major spiritual powers, he referred to himself as the nobody several times and kept talking about something on the 4chan paranormal board called the nobody. When I heard this, I was like, what the fuck is the nobody? What is that? I've also never used 4chan ever, like once in my life. So I went on the paranormal board of 4chan, and on the first page I saw what he was talking about, the nobody. I was like, what is this? So I clicked on it and started reading, and I quickly gathered the nobody was this thing on 4chan, some kind of legend or mysterious figure that's kind of like the chosen one, some kind of guy who has unlocked major spiritual powers, and he has some leverage over the Illuminati or the one world government because of how spiritually awakened he is, and he can control reality with his conscious and unconscious mind, something like that. That's what the nobody is. Some kind of spiritual messiah or chosen one. However, nobody knows who the nobody is. Hence the name, the nobody. And in these 4chan threads, there's obviously lots of speculation on who it is, and lots of people like Yayo on his blog claiming to be the nobody. And I thought this was interesting, and I even talked to someone who used 4chan years ago, and they were always on the paranormal board, and they told me as well the nobody even back then was a really popular topic that people couldn't stop talking about. So to me, it seemed like some kind of second coming or like some book character that people couldn't stop theorizing about, but they obviously believed it was a real person who was fighting the government with their spiritual powers. And at first glance, I thought maybe it was like some kind of joke, some kind of meme isolated to 4chan. I don't fucking know. To me, it kind of read like some kind of Messiah fan fiction. Like, guys, who is the nobody? Any one of us could be the nobody. I don't know. But as I kept searching about this nobody, because it interested me, and going deeper down the rabbit hole, I found out there was more to this than meets the eye. And it was not just a meme isolated to one website, but a tale that spans over a decade and goes over several different websites and has so much history and lore, I couldn't even cover it all in 1 hour. And the chances are you've never heard of this in your life. For some reason, it's just never reached the mainstream. I don't know why, but after finding out what the nobody was, I was hungry for more information on it, and so started researching more and came across a blog whose aim was to get more information about the nobody and share it with everyone. And the blog author started their post by saying this: I have no answers, but what I do know I will put available on my blog so that other researchers have no need to retrace worn steps in their search. And for me, this was perfect because I was looking for a lot of information on this nobody legend and how it started, and a lot of it was just all over the place because a lot of these forums you find the information on were just full of like schizo ramblings and shit like that. And they talked about the origins of the nobody on this blog, and they said, according to many, the nobody legend started on a forum called Godlike Productions in 2010. And Godlike Productions is basically like a conspiracy theory forum, but they also cover like occult shit and like esoteric stuff like that. It's been around since early 2000s. It's still going today. And the first post that started the nobody legend was called "The Illuminati was made an offer they couldn't refuse." And this post basically was just a really cryptic post about how there was some kind of anomaly that's up against the Illuminati that the Illuminati wasn't expecting. And this guy had some kind of spiritual power and shit like that. So like, at first glance, if you read this post, you would think it's kind of like some cryptic schizo bullshit. And a lot of people were actually saying that. The first replies to this post from 2010 were being like, what are you talking about? Just give us clear answers and blah, blah, blah. But after this post, the whole thing kind of took off on Godlike Productions and another forum called Lunatic Outpost. And the post on Godlike Productions from 2010 became a mega thread spanning 2,615 pages, and it went on for 4 fucking years. So for 4 years and over 2,000 pages, people started talking about the nobody and creating a bunch of lore and posting all this cryptic bullshit and all that. But anyways, it went on for 4 years until it was eventually locked by the moderators of Godlike Productions, so no one can post anything more about it. And Godlike Productions moderators banned any more discussion about the nobody. So why did the moderators of Godlike Productions lock the original post and ban any discussion of it? I don't know. Some would argue it was just because it was getting annoying and out of hand. It had been going on for 4 fucking years. However, there were others who were speculating about other theories, and the author of this blog was also speculating. And since they were a user on Godlike Productions when this whole nobody thing was going on, they said there was a page 2,616. Remember I said the post went on for 2,615 pages? They said there was a 16th one, but it got deleted. And they said they don't know why, but they think it was because certain names got posted. And they didn't go too much more into that. They didn't elaborate on it. But I thought that was interesting. They were mentioning that kind of cryptic shit about names getting posted, because when I did more research on Godlike Productions, because I have obviously never heard of it before this nobody shit, when I researched it, I was seeing a lot of other people on other websites like Reddit who used to be on it back in the day were talking about how it was crawling with feds, and there was lots of shady shit going on Godlike Productions. I even saw some mentions of it potentially being owned by the military or being ran by the military. So take that how you will. I don't know how true that is. I just saw a lot of people talking about how some shady shit went on there. And this blog then listed like a bunch of resources on the nobody, but a lot of these websites were offline, so it didn't really have much more good information. But I kept searching and found a subreddit called What Are the NA Threads? I guess what are the nobody/anomaly threads, right? It only has like 5 members. No one really knows about it. But this guy in the subreddit, he said he created the whole subreddit to investigate what the nobody threads were, because he said the amount of time it's been going on and the amount of threads it's been going on, 14 fucking years the nobody threads have been going on for. He said there must be some purpose or goal behind it, or something or someone that is making these threads keep going. And this is useful as well because this guy was also around on Godlike Productions back in the day and seems like he was a frequent user of 4chan. And he says as well, every time he tried to ask people about the nobody threads and try and figure out who started them and why, he said he always got a lot of people deflecting his answers, and people lost their shit every time he asked them what was up with the nobody threads, like on 4chan and on these forums. He also said that the nobody threads appeared on 4chan in 2013 but weren't really active, and then in 2019 they started really like fucking popping off, and ever since 2019 it's been extremely active on 4chan, on the paranormal board. And I think I saw someone even say it was one of the most active threads on the whole of 4chan. Like ever since 2019, it's just active 24/7 and there's a bunch of posting on it. And something interesting as well that he mentioned was, since he was on Godlike Productions and remembers a lot of posts from back in the day, he said that before the Nobody threads, which are like primarily targeting males, like the Nobody is a male, right? He said before that there was something called the Destiny threads on Godlike Productions in like the early 2000s. And he said instead of targeting males, these Destiny threads targeted females. And there was a bunch of women arguing about who the Destiny was and claiming they were the Destiny on Godlike Productions. And the same thing happened with the Nobody thread. Apparently it got so out of hand, there were so many women arguing about it, that Godlike Productions closed the Destiny threads and like prohibited any more discussion about them. And I thought that was interesting, and so I went on Godlike Productions and searched for the Destiny threads, and I couldn't find anything about them at all except one post from 2008 when someone said, guys, let's all take a break from the Destiny threads. Can you tell me what to do with my leftover turkey? That was the only post on it. They were asking for like fucking leftover turkey recipes or something. And from that, I gathered that everyone at that time in 2008 was like obsessed with the Destiny threads or some shit. So I don't know. Also, when I was searching up on the Nobody and I saw all the lore that was scattered around these forums, I kept seeing references to the Lady of Scars or the Woman of Scars, which was something else that was mentioned on the blog post of that schizo guy I mentioned at the start. At the time, I didn't know what that was, but now I know it's some connection with the Nobody. Like, the Lady of Scars is the Nobody's girlfriend or ex-girlfriend. So literally there is so much lore on the Nobody and the Anomaly that's spread over dozens of different forums, and it's fucking crazy. Like it's like a joint effort where they're just creating a bunch of world building on the Nobody or some shit. It's kind of interesting. But anyways, the guy on Reddit never figured out the purpose of the Nobody threads. I think his most convincing theory was that he thought it was some kind of psyop to get Trump back in the election because he saw there were a bunch of Trump supporters on all the 4chan posts. I don't know if 4chan is like right-leaning or some shit. I don't know about all that. But yeah, that's that. Still, still no one fucking knows what's up with the Nobody or Anomaly threads. Some people think it's just a meme created by someone. Some people have claimed to have created the original threads, but no one knows if they're legit. Some others think it's some fucking government psyop because apparently Godlike Productions was ran by the feds or the military or some shit. So I don't know. Give me your theories on that. It's so weird how it's been going on for 14 years. 14 years, and firstly, it's never reached the mainstream, and secondly, no one knows who started them, no one knows their goal, their aim, no one knows anything about them, if it's a meme or like some serious thing. Over a fucking decade! I was a little child in 2010. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on that. Dislike the video, leave me a mean comment, never join the Discord ever. I love you, I love you, I love you.